Hi everyone, my name's Scott. Welcome to Planes, Trains, Everything, and welcome to the construction site once known as Munich Hauptbahnhof. I'm here for 2 nights and I'm going to do a very special video. But first, I have to check in at my hotel. And this is my home for the next 2 nights, the Alpen Hotel. It is a 4-star property, and do you know how much it cost me? Nada, because I paid for it entirely using Avios. Right, let's get checked in. And here we are. Most importantly, the view. Let's see which one I got. Ah, the construction site view. Yes. Okie dokie, it's just gone 4:30. I'm going to unpack, relax a bit, then I'm going to head out, get something to eat because I haven't had anything since breakfast. And then I'll explain to you what I'm up to here in Munich. I've been studying that work of art there, and it's very Bavarian. Jack and Jill went up a hill to milk a cow. So what am I up to in Munich? Good question. Plan A was to go to Neuschwanstein Castle. That's the big Bavarian fairy tale castle you see in the travel brochures. That one there. That is in fact the inspiration for the Disneyland logo. And I thought about going there. I didn't want to do an organised tour. I like to have my independence. And you can go almost there by train. It's a place called Füssen. It's £65 return on a train, and that's booking that in advance. I don't know what it's like on the day of travel. From there you've got a 2-mile walk to the castle. You then pay €23, about £20 entry fee into the castle, where you must join a tour. You can't walk around the castle on your own. No photography, no videos are permitted unless you have a permit. And I thought, that's not much use. You can actually film outside in the grounds, but all you can really see are gardens, trees, and looking up at the castle, and that's not very good. There is a path you can take up to one of the hills and you can look down. That's where that picture was actually taken from. But apparently, being one of the major tourist attractions in Germany, it can get pretty busy up there, and it's not unusual to have dozens of people standing there in front of you waiting for that all-important Instagram shot. Plan B was to go to Garmisch-Partenkirchen. Now, I was there last year, spring in 2024, and I walked along this gorge, and being the end of winter, there was these frozen waterfalls, and that was probably the most amazing thing I think I've ever seen in Germany. I thought, wow. Garmisch itself hasn't got much going for it. It's a bit of a base, but I've since discovered you can go on a rack cable car up to the top of a mountain and then come back down again. There's a cable car which takes you to the highest point in Germany and then back down again, and there's also one called the Wankbahn. And the Wankbahn is a cable car, and it takes you to the top of Wank Mountain. And I thought, there's some entertainment value there. One slight problem. There is a rail replacement bus service for part of the journey between Munich and Garmisch-Partenkirchen. So you go by train to bus, bus to train, train to your destination. I thought, that's a bit messy. You got to do it on the way back as well. Wank Mountain will always be there. And then plan C. In 5 days' time, the Oktoberfest starts. The population of Munich is 1.6 million. They expect to get around about 7 million visitors over the 15 days that Oktoberfest is being held, and I'm so glad I'm not here for that. That would be totally mad. But I thought I could still have a beer-themed video, couldn't I? So the plan tomorrow is to go out, see what's being set up, because it kicks off in, like I said, 5 days' time. And I thought, even better, I could go to the Paulaner brewery. Now, this is my favourite pub in Glasgow. It's the Bavaria Brewhouse, and I've been known to partake in the occasional Paulaner there. And Paulaner is brewed here in Bavaria, here in Munich. And I thought, let's do one of the guided tours, because I know you can do a tour of the brewery. Tomorrow's Monday, and guess what day of the week they don't do them? Yep, Monday. So that's not going to happen, although it's not going to stop me from having the occasional Paulaner, just to keep the beer theme going in this video. So I'm going to get ready, I'm going to go out, and I'm going to get something to eat. Now, the reason why I picked this hotel was, apart from the fact I could use Avios to pay for it, it's 2 minutes walk to the station. It's literally 2 blocks. It's so close. And so I know there you can get curry bratwurst. That's for tomorrow. But tonight, I'd really like to get schnitzel and one of these Paulaners. So I'm going to get ready. I think we should go out and try and find some food and one of these Paulaner beer things. Although I'm only 2 blocks from the Hauptbahnhof, this is not the quietest part of town. There's a lot of yahooing and yeehaing going on. Hopefully the yahooing stops at bedtime. Right, up here, do a left, then a right, and that'll take me into the old town. Where you find old towns, you find tourists. Where you find old towns, you find tourists, and where you find tourists, you find food. I'm getting off the road here. And I might find a schnitzel there as well. Well, that didn't take very long, did it? On my road, there's a pub. They've got a selection of schnitzels there, and they've got an Oktoberfest special of €5 for 500ml beer. I'm sorted, but I'm going to head into the old town anyway because I've got a video to film. I must say, a large part of Munich city centre is a construction site. So we're through the city gate, into the touristy area. We've passed a McDonald's already. This is where prices start getting a little bit pricey, but there might be a little bit more atmosphere than being in a stuffy little pub on a side street. That's the plan anyway. Let's have a look. Okay, Schnitzelwirt restaurant. That just caught my eye. One schnitzel later, boom. But they didn't do Paulaner, they did Späten, which is actually my son's beer of choice when we go to the Bavaria brew house. So I sent him a picture of me having one, just to rub it in a little bit, you know. A little bit more expensive than I had hoped, but you're on the main drag here in Munich anyway, what do you expect? Right, let's look at some sights. Oh, I did ask the guy, he was very friendly, and I said, so you're looking forward to Oktoberfest? And he goes, oh yeah. I think it's a very big money-making exercise for these guys, because after drinks you've got to eat somewhere. Today is Sunday. I would imagine from tomorrow, Monday, things will start getting a little bit busier in regards to Oktoberfest. In fact, there is something being set up here. Not quite sure what that is, but it does look pretty at night, doesn't it? The plan of action tomorrow is to go to the main centre for Oktoberfest. It's about a mile out of town. I think we should go there in the morning. Not connected to Oktoberfest in any way whatsoever. I'm just curious to have a look at these meats. Ooh, I wouldn't mind bringing some of those home. They are measured in grams and not mil, but I'm pretty sure the water content inside would still register as 100 mil or more. This little square here is actually pretty quiet. Like I said, it is a Sunday night, but I reckon by next weekend this place will be jumping. Cheese and more. And what do you reckon they sell here? Millions of cheeses. Ooh, I may have to go in there tomorrow. This is one seriously big queue. I wonder what they're lining up for. Let's find out. Okay, they sell stuff like schnitzel in a bun and sausages and stuff. I don't know why there's such a big line there though. Before I head back to the hotel tonight, I'm just going to head up to the Hauptbahnhof for a quick recce. That place is always a construction site every time I've been anywhere near it, and today is no exception. But I want to make sure, firstly, there's a supermarket. I want to get a couple of things for the room, and also to make sure you can buy curry bratwurst there, because you could the last time I was there, and that's on the menu for tomorrow. Can I just say, I've just seen my first two men in lederhosen, leather trousers, but they both look pretty drunk, so it might have been a party they've been to. Okie dokie, loads of shops downstairs in the second level. That's where the S-Bahn leaves from. It's absolute carnage down there. It is so busy. But I found a supermarket, got some supplies. That'll keep me going till tomorrow and the next day. Haven't found anywhere that does currywurst yet. Oh no. I just found a place that does bratwurst at 21 euros a pop. I think we'll give that one a miss. We'll keep looking. Righty-ho, I'm going to have an early night, but I'll see you in the morning. Good morning, everybody. The bed itself isn't too bad. I give that a 7 out of 10. Shower is a 7 out of 10. The pillows, nyeh, because they look nice, but I like firm pillows, and these squeezed to actually almost nothing. So of course I felt as if I was sleeping on the mattress without a pillow. We're going to go out. We're going to have a look at the main site where Oktoberfest is held. There is a monument there which I'd like to try and find as well. The Yahooing stopped at about 10 o'clock last night. The construction work across the road there started at about 8 this morning, and I thought, let's find out what's going on around the Hauptbahnhof, because this place has been an absolute nightmare for years. It says here, undergoing extensive renovations and expansion, including the construction of a second S-Bahn mainline. Aha! A new tunnel upgrades the station. They expect the work to be finished by 2033. So no doubt by the time I come back to Munich, it'll still be ongoing. But apparently they expect the capacity to increase from 250,000 a day to 800,000 a day, something like that. So yeah, I think I should go out and get some breakfast. When I did the recce at the station yesterday, I didn't see any cafes of any sort. Plenty of places selling coffees and pastries and stuff, but no way to sit down. The idea there is you go, you buy, you leave. So let's go for a little walk. That article I was reading was saying that once finished, Munich station will be one of the best stations in Germany. I don't think it will be the best, because I think the best will still be Berlin Hauptbahnhof. And also I've just found my first girl wearing a traditional grindel. Is that how they pronounce them? Grindel? Okay, firstly, the word is drindel. That's the traditional Bavarian dress. And even more importantly, I found the little place that used to sell the curry bratwurst. It's moved, but it's still there. Note taken. Right, let's find some coffee. Two pretzels, one for now, one for later on, and a large cappuccino. Cheers. Oh, that's hot. Wow. Okay, that filled a hole. Let's go looking for signs of Oktoberfest. So what do you reckon? Should I rent lederhosen? I think I look rather dapper in that. I was just thinking, why do I like Munich so much? Okay, it's in Germany, but it's got a kind of an alpine buzz about it. And it is not that far from the Alps, let's be fair. And I think that's what it is. There's a little bit of non-Germanic, more alpine feeling about the place. I think that's why I like Munich. More dirndls and more lederhosen. I'm not sure how well those leather trousers would go down in Paisley. I was just thinking, I keep going on about dirndls and lederhosen. It's probably the same effect if you're a visitor at Edinburgh and you saw kilts. Around here to the left, and I think that's what we're looking for. I just walked past a Turkish travel agency there, and being a bit sad, I decided to slow down and see what was in the window. And there's a poster for a coach service, and I thought, oh, Munich to Istanbul. I thought, wow. And it's not as if it's even up to the standard of Flixbus, for example. It was some Turkish coach company. That would be a good one, wouldn't it? I'll let you do that one. Feel free to do a Munich to Istanbul coach journey. Whoa. I mean, that would be at least, it'd have to be at least 2 nights, wouldn't it? Wow. What a killer. Oh, I think we're just about here. And here we are at the main site of Oktoberfest. I don't like the looks of this big fence here. Not going to be able to see much there, but I think you should go over and explore. I was here about 10 years ago, and I think it must have been in spring. Absolutely nowhere near Oktoberfest time, and this whole area is just barren ground. And there's acres and acres of it. Naturally, with a couple of efficient security guards, the chances of me getting in there are somewhere between slim and none. But I think we should go for a walk anyway, because like I said, there is a memorial. I don't think this is it. That might actually be the memorial I was looking for. It looks like it's got something to do with a bombing or something, but I'm going to have to do Google Translate at some point and work out what that was. Yeah, hanging around the front gate there is probably not a good idea, because there's lots of security, lots of vans, lots of traffic. That's the main entrance. But we're going to go for a walk all the way around it. It's a couple of miles all the way around this centre. It's an amazing place. I think we should go down here. I don't think we will, because there's a security guard. I remember there is a place where you can actually look down onto it, and I'm hoping to get there. How exciting. How mad would this be to be here in Oktoberfest? I tell you what. Should I rent one of those? I would so like to go in there for a closer look, but it ain't going to be happening. Right, there must be a gap in this fence somewhere. I think that was the Paulaner tent. How frustrating. So close yet so far. That's my goal for this afternoon. Get a Paulaner somewhere and maybe a Currywurst. Mainly the Paulaner. Got to keep the beer theme going. Okay, I think they've finally given up on this advertising. Now we can start seeing what's beyond. I don't believe it, they've actually got rides in there. Can you imagine consuming copious amounts of beer and then going on rides? Oh, what would possibly go wrong? Have a look at this. You know, the more I see of this, the more I think, I wonder if it's possible just to do. Come to Munich for one night, go to Oktoberfest for one day, not overdo it, just experience Oktoberfest. I think you would need to do that if you love German beer, which I do. It's one of these things you have to do. I'm going to write that down on my list of ideas when I get home. Oktoberfest 2026, what do you reckon? I reckon the accommodation would fill up the best part of a year in advance, and I expect it to be quite expensive as well, but I'll look at that when I get home, I think. There seems to be no shortage of tents selling Paulaner here. That's a good thing. Darn, I thought I'd struck gold there. I found a little area which was open and people were sitting down and drinking and eating and whatever, and I thought, oh, maybe there is one that's open after all. No, no, that was the staff canteen. I was quickly dispatched from the area. Darn. This is the southern part of the area, and it's primarily caravans. It's more set up for the staff. I guess the staff have to stay somewhere, and to save money, they don't stay in hotels because it'll break the budget. They stay in caravans and that kind of thing here. There's also catering facilities, toilet facilities, all for staff only. There must be at least 100 of these large concrete flower pots here, and they're all being moved away because space is such a premium here. Just picture this scene. You've had a few too many Paulaners, and you see that and you think, hey Hans, hold my beer for a moment, I'm going on that roller coaster. That would not be a good thing, would it? I nearly found a way of getting into Oktoberfest, but I'm too much of a coward. I don't like breaking the law. I don't actually. There was this entrance and staff were going in. As far as I can see, they didn't have any accreditation passes. They were just walking in, and there were two guys in high-vis yellow vests in a tent looking at their phones, not paying any attention to the people going in. And I thought I could just join one of those small groups and go in. But knowing my luck, I'd get caught and prosecuted and a whole lot, so I don't know. Right, maybe I have to do it legally next year. One thing I have noticed, peeking through the fences, absolutely, utterly no shortage of bratwurst. Yes, Paulaner and bratwurst. I have to come back next year. I've now walked about 3/4 of the way around the site. It's enormous, it really is. It's about the size of a small airport, and it's taken me best part of an hour at least to walk around this far. But the thing that surprised me is I thought it was nothing but beer tents, but no, a good portion of it, maybe a good third of it at least, is actually amusements. Nah. This could be as close as I'm going to get to Oktoberfest this year. It's a little beer garden in the site, and it's open to the public, and they're selling beer. I think for research and information purposes, I should go in. You can take the boy out of security, but you can't take security out of the boy. Every site has its weak spot, and Oktoberfest's weak spot is there. That's a kind of a joint kind of public contractor lunch area where the contractors come, they'll have some bratwurst, they'll have some fries, and they'll have a beer, and then they'll head back to work. Brilliant. The thing is, the service is glacial in there, so that means there's a big long line forming, and it forms through a gate and with a sign on it which says "Eintritt verboten." And the thing is, you're not supposed to go in there unless you're allowed to. But it was actually such a long line, it was actually into the actual compound of Oktoberfest itself. So I had to actually enter Oktoberfest to join the end of the line. And I thought, I could actually keep walking and end up right in the heart of Oktoberfest. But I certainly would be breaking the law. Breaking the law, breaking the law. So I decided not to do that. But I could have. That is the point in which you can get into Oktoberfest. So apart from taking advantage of the Achilles heel that I found back at that little bar, there's no way you're going to get into Oktoberfest before it kicks off in 5 days' time. Ah yes, I'm sure I read about this, the 1980 bomb attack at Oktoberfest. That was actually a very pleasant beer, and I loved the atmosphere. It's nothing but Germans, there are no tourists there, it's brilliant. Right, I'm going to head now into the city centre and have another look around during daylight hours instead of at twilight. I'm still thinking about that entrance into Oktoberfest. It would have been fun, but not if you're holding a GoPro. That would have been a dead giveaway. I'd have to go into stealth mode. But I keep thinking about it. What was the worst that would happen? Someone shouts at me in German and then kick me out. It's not as if I'm going to get arrested. But then I guess it could set back Anglo-German relations 50 years. I don't know. Nah, buy a ticket next year and do it legally. I forgot to mention that 500ml beer I had back there, €4.30. What a bargain. Also passed a little charity shop there, so I went in there and had a look. One Paulaner 500ml Stein. There's my souvenir for this trip. The hotel looks a little better during daylight hours, doesn't it? Right, I'm going to drop off this Paulaner glass, then I'm on the road again. One thing I've discovered is inside that perimeter fence it's 100% Oktoberfest, but outside here in the city it's not. There's very little reference to it at all. If you think of the Six Nations rugby or the Euros or one of these big competitions, the pubs have flags and bunting and posters and stuff, and I thought there would have been a bit of Oktoberfest festivity in the city itself, but it's actually not. Always remember to look up. Okay, I'm going to combine a bit of sightseeing now with trying to find a Paulaner, because I have to find one while I'm here in Munich. They're made here after all. And so far I have not found a single place that sells it, apart from inside the compound at Oktoberfest. That doesn't count. Some of the dried fruits in there look absolutely amazing. But I'm on a Paulaner mission. Can I just say, Paulaner is one of the bigger brands in Germany, and Munich is like the drinking capital of Germany. Why can I not find Paulaner anywhere? Aha, this is where I was last night, and it was as dead as a dodo. This is more like it. Wow, this is more like it. And Augustiner seems to be the big brand here, and that's what I had at Oktoberfest. But I'm on the hunt for Paulaner. I spy with my little eye something beginning with P, and it's not that place. It's that sign right there. And it is geschlossen. Okay. Well, here are all the empties, and just there, boom, maybe they do them. Yeah, two places there, they sell Paulaner, but it's the dark stuff in bottles. I'm looking for the Helles, which is the lighter beer. It has to be here somewhere. 2 pints and it's only 4 p.m. I'm not used to this kind of pressure. That was very nice, and I've been able to tick that off the box. So we've got the schnitzel, we've got the Paulaner. All we need now later on tonight is the Currywurst. I saw this cheese shop last night and I thought, yes, I must come back. I got to the front door and I thought, no, we can't do that, because at the moment there's a ban on EU cheeses, dairy products and meat products into the UK because of foot and mouth disease. So that could be taken from me. Okie dokie, that is the Glockenspiel, and I've only got 50 minutes to wait until the next performance. This is such an iconic building here in Munich, and I have never been in there. I think we should go in. It's amazing to think that was heavily damaged in 1943, and look at it now. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are today's Glockenspiel highlights. It only dates from 1908. I mean, the building's a lot older than that, but the actual Glockenspiel, 1908. Okie dokie, I'm just heading back to the hotel now to freshen up a bit, relax, and then we'll head out and we'll get a Currywurst. That is the third of the 3 things I have to get when I'm in Munich. I've got my schnitzel, I've got my Paulaner, and I need my Currywurst. And in fact, because I blew the budget last night with that expensive schnitzel, this will work out well because it's a nice cheap meal. And I think we'll head towards the station for that. And I'm now heading up to the station. It's time for Currywurst. It's 10 minutes past 7 and I decided to hold off for the Currywurst because I remember yesterday evening this station was manic. Doesn't look too bad already. Yeah, this is better. Let's get some Currywurst. €3. What a bargain. Right, I'm going to try and find a seat and I'm going to enjoy my dinner. Okay, be honest. How amazing does that look? Well, that was pretty good for €3. So what have I learned about Oktoberfest? Well, I just assumed that because it was such a large event, a world famous event, it would just absorb the entire city. But in actual fact, Munich operates very separately from Oktoberfest, and the two do not mix. You might find that hotel prices are a lot more expensive, availability is going to be a lot more tighter. Getting into a cafe or a restaurant could be a challenge as well, but Oktoberfest is in its own little area and it doesn't go outside of that area. There's very little influence on Oktoberfest in the city centre. But I do like the idea of maybe popping over here next year for a night or two and just sampling the atmosphere. I think that would be great. I just saw enough through those wire fences today to think, yeah, it's worth it. I think I should do it. So thanks for coming along, and I'll see you next time.
Has become a familiar tradition at the start of the festival. The Munich Festival runs for 16 days and typically draws around 6 million visitors.